tiger on the prowl. I'ma make it go wow. I'm original, and I told you so. I'm a kid in the candy store with the leather on the denim. I ain't the cure, I'm the venom. If you wanna find me, find the taillight. Something's coming in, you're gonna wanna take a red eye. It's time to go. It's time to go. Get ready. Get ready. Get ready. Don't blink, don't blink. Get ready. Get ready. Get ready. Don't blink, don't blink. I don't wait for nobody. I'ma sign my name on the dotty. City lights call my name, drawn to the flame, and I'm feeling kinda naughty. I hit the ground running, step out the door and I'm stunning. Better hold tight cause you know what's going down. I'm setting the pace cause this is my town. So get ready. Get ready. Get ready. Don't blink, don't blink. Get ready. Get ready. Get ready. Don't blink, don't blink. Get ready. Get ready. Get ready. Don't blink, don't blink. Get ready. Get ready. Get ready. Don't blink, blink.
Hello, What Up Wednesday. Welcome, everyone. It is a special edition. It is a watch party. Now, this is going to be a real challenge. I've just realized that yet again, I am having some issues with my Chrome broadcast. So I am going to do what is going to be obviously a very easy and quick reboot of my second system. Like, don't worry, friends. Should I put on some background music while I'm doing this? Let's just see what happens. Okay. I'm going to have to stand up right now and I'm going to have to change what's happening. Am I sure I want to restart my computer? No, I'm not sure at all. I am absolutely not sure I want to do this. Hi, I hope you guys are all doing well. I see Christian Ariel Herline. You're going to have to tell me how to pronounce your name properly. Buenos dias. It's good to see you. I hope you are having a great day. You're probably about 3 hours ahead of me, so you're right in the heat of the afternoon. Oh no, you're in fall. What am I talking about? Like, it's winter now for you. I should know better. Okay. So I'm going to stand up really quick. Should I put my B right back? Okay, I'm going to do this. I'll be right back. You know, some people would feel like tech issues are a bad sign. To me, they just happen constantly. So it's just like living. I hope you've been enjoying all of the Pro League matches that have been happening recently, because there have been a lot of them. It's been a very, very busy time because this weekend wraps up the Pro League entirely. So it's yeah, that's going to be it after Sunday, just in time for the Women's World Cup to start the following Friday. So no panic at all. Okay. And I'm just going to switch my mouse over. Don't worry, they take a while to get going in Rotterdam, especially. Some of the locations, they are right off the hopper. They start going. Hi, Nora. Oh my goodness. Nora's here. What? It is so good to see you. It's been ages. And I can't remember. Am I going to see you in Surrey or are you on the other tournament? Because I do not know. Okay, so as I was saying in Rotterdam, it takes a little while. They do the interviews and then there's anthems and it takes a hot minute. So, yep, they haven't even started the anthems yet. And I'm just waiting to see, okay, this is better. This is better, friends. Okay. So I need to share this and this. Okay. And look at that. Eva de Hoda is in the building. She is playing probably the matches this weekend as well. And that is her warm-up to get her back in time for the Women's World Cup. So big occasion. And they're taking a big risk to make sure that she's ready. And that is her warm-up to get her back for all this. Okay, so whoever's joining in on the Discord, you are they're taking a big risk. Going to be live. So let me see what's going on here. I need to this is fun, hey? I am literally the only person who is knowing what's going on here. Okay. I am going to stop popping this out to another window because that's just getting too hard for me to control all at the same time. So this, I need to see all the participants because I need to see Keely D Test is live and I need to watch that stream. Okay, if you're watching on YouTube, please tell me if you can hear the anthem.
All that hard work worth it for Eva de Hoda as she gets to sing her national anthem in the Dutch shirt once again.
So that is the Dutch anthem dispensed with. Got the comments coming up here on YouTube. Not a problem pronunciation. I know, but I like to do my best here. And you're on the under 18s, Nora. Oh, that's too bad. Good to see you, Luke. And that is by intention. So I can't show the match here on YouTube. Okay, that is a violation of broadcasting rights. But there are places that you can see it yourself. So you make sure that you head over to watch.hockey. It's free. And if you can't get the match for some reason because you're in an area where it's not being shown, I've heard that VPNs work really, really well. Okay, so that is the alternative. Change my focus here. Okay, so you can hear, just not really see anything much. Yep, absolutely. So Luke, you know where to come if you want to watch this.
And that is a formidable
Discord.
starting lineup for the Dutch.
Okay.
Well, twice now she has
this is the most challenging thing I've ever done on a live broadcast. I have to say, I am using things that I've never even tried before. So you can see that tiny sliver. That is going to be the match time. That's going to be the graphic where the match is visible. So if you want a piece of that, that's what you need to do. And that's just so that you know. So if you're watching at home and you're like, oh my gosh, I need to get in sync with what's Keely seeing at that time, this is how to do it. Okay, you're not able to hear anything on Discord, says Nora.
Now he's pitting his wits for the Netherlands against China. Alison Atten, of course, Dutch coach.
Let's see if I have everything set. We have center pass. That is gone. So Nora, what you might need to do is to hit the watch stream button. Keely detest. It wasn't even an intentional pun. Is the stream that you want to activate. Okay. If you are there, let's see, there's also a chat in here.
Difficult game for the Netherlands.
Crispy says the anthem's all good, so we should be okay.
What do they have to do differently today?
So,
China's a difficult one to play because they just work really hard. They're very different to us European nations, and again, just making them move, trying to break their defensive system, and like Holland did yesterday before they scored the second goal, more through counter-attacks or through intercepting.
So we have Celine and Lorraine Deforge on this game. Belgium double trouble. And I need to take a look at my other screen.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of penalty corners being given away just through poor execution.
Okay, at which side is which? They are both blonde. They are both
who's really good at penalty corners. You want to make the most of it. So
at the perfect height, as far as I'm concerned.
Again,
they're close to my height. Around 5'4", maybe 5'6". I don't know. But I'm thinking Lorraine's on the far side or the left-hand side, the left-hand circle of our screen, and then that puts Celine on. Yeah.
I'm just so pleased to see her back on the pitch. She's just a brilliant player, and to come back in only 7 months, that's pretty impressive. But also, if someone can do it, then it's Eva, because
the match today between these two teams was really good. It was very interesting. It's nice to see China playing with confidence and, dare I say it, a little bit more joy than I've seen. It's not, you know, they're not stoic individuals. It's not that stereotype, but they seem to be relishing the challenges instead of being maybe overcowed by them. Sorry, so Lorraine is on our close side to the camera, to the usual camera, and controlling the right-hand circle. So what I usually do in these watch parties is try not to talk the whole time, but because I'm here on YouTube and y'all are going to be wondering, why am I just sitting here and looking off at a screen? I'm going to try to keep up with what is happening and bring up your comments from YouTube. Any questions that you have would be more than welcome. For those of you who are in the Discord and you're wondering about the stream volume, you can control that. So all you need to do is to go into the voice channel. You right click on the stream and you turn down that volume.
Yeah, Jamie clearly trusts in those two players to just give them a spot.
Okay, so that should help
these games now
dramatically. So you right click and you'll see there's a slider. It says stream volume, turn that down. Okay. I tested it out and it looked like around 60 to 65% was a good volume for it to be transmitted out to YouTube. If I've got that wrong, please do let me know. But this audio, the match audio is being, anyway, it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing.
And then you start to imagine the journey she's been on to get to this point.
I think she was actually lucky because she spent the first
and we have Charlie Broom and
rehab over the winter in the sun.
Julie Malou-Wieland on color commentary, retired captain from the German team. Yemi Mulders, former German head coach for, I've even forgotten how many years. Also former coach of China, now coaching Holland. Alison Annen, now coaching now coaching China, longtime former coach of the Netherlands. It is crazy. Everybody is everybody. If you thought hockey was a small community in your parts, hockey's a small community in every parts. Just worked it out. Have to adjust the volume of the red Keely to test and not the one showing the video. Oh. Okay, that makes sense. Thank you for explaining that.
China's really low,
Maybe that's
deep
what
in
I
their
did
own half,
differently.
actually. They're keeping that
Let's
space
see what's
more
going on.
for Holland, because they know
Okay.
if we give them space, they would become dangerous.
Bigger moves.
Oh, see. Oh.
Long corner.
Yeah, see, I have Keeley to test actually muted in the voice channel entirely, and I'm...
Oh, nice shot. Nice touch at the top of the circle from Janssen.
I don't know what I've done.
Stick.
I don't know what I've done. I just hope it'll be good. Ooh, and the graphics in the right place, so you can see where I am at. We've just got the first penalty corner of the game called. Just a pretty easy danger call off the deflection off the defender's stick here. So what I like to do is to talk about what the umpires are doing in certain situations, talk about their body language, their patterns of movement on the pitch, how they're reacting to what's happening in the game, and give you a holistic picture of how management comes along in a game. Talking about clips week after week, it's very useful, but only for some circumstances. We miss out on how the story of a game unfolds and how the umpires help make that a safe, productive, fair game in that respect. So that's why we're trying this out today. I wanted to see how it works for y'all, because during the Women's World Cup and the Commonwealth Games, we're going to be doing this a lot. So much like we did for the Tokyo Olympics and for European Championships last year, we're just going to be watching games together all day. So anytime you can pop in, if you are a yellow member, I would love to see you. If you're not yet a yellow member, you're going to want to think about either that or a tournament pass. So those details are going to be posted up on my website. They'll be in the Discord server. So make sure you join the Discord server. Make sure you join the Discord server. Where's my buttons? There you go. That's where the Discord server is, FHumpires.com/Discord. You unplugged your laptop from the second monitor. Now the Discord sound works. I don't know. Maybe it was something to do with sound sharing, going through the different units. I don't know. Christian, did that end line tackle look like a PC awarded, the PC awarded video 5 weeks ago? There has been, and it is a topic of conversation amongst the top umpires too. Don't worry, it's not like they're ignorant of this fact. They are very well aware that they are struggling right now to really be consistent about when they're calling these penalty corners. It's going to be a big point of attention at the Women's World Cup and at the Commonwealth Games, where they're going to do their best to get things, on track. And the way that they'll do that is they will also review clips as an umpiring team. They'll go through the various scenarios and they will develop a consensus as to where they want the lines to be drawn, and then do their best as they go throughout to meet those standards. So that's a really good point, Christian. Thanks for bringing that up.
There is Good number one running by Van Geffen, and good secondary defense by Van Geffen, who gets the ball away to
Okay, Celine well ahead of the play. That's fantastic. She is a very athletic umpire, so it's nice to... Oh, sorry. the wrong way. That was Lorene. Now I've got it locked in my brain. Both of them are very athletic and quick, and that really helps them in these breakdowns. But it's also about anticipation and reading the play and seeing how much space was in front of the Dutch defender. It was Van Geffen who was on the ground, and seeing that opening is your cue. Go, taxi, just get going. What you'll notice, if you haven't been watching a lot of the Pro League games and you haven't been in a watch party with me before, you'll notice that the umpires are taking a very interior position, particularly when the ball is attacking their 23 and their circle. So instead of staying out on the sideline and then trying to comb a J cut and run along the end line in order to get where they need to be when the ball gets in the circle. They start there, and the play just moves around them. It's a fantastic vantage point. You have so much more control, so much more composure. You see everything you need to see, and you're in the best position to make the mission critical calls. So take a look at where you see Lorraine. We're going to have a better view of Celine when she's doing it as well in her end. And then the question becomes, how do you get there? When do you make that transition inside? Okay, so first card of the game.
Sit down.
And from what Celine said, she said over there, it's a breakdown tackle that happened just prior. I need to watch the play a little bit more carefully so I can give you better information about that. Good to see you all who are watching in the Discord, in the watch party. I hope this is a good experience for you all. I'm looking forward to all your feedback.
And of course, Germany for the Netherlands.
Good to see you, Stefan. Kia ora. Hey, China's been building some good attack here, so it's nice. Both Celine and Lorraine have had an opportunity to get in there. China had the first penalty corner of the game.
Like every nation, not the best head-to-head, is it, for Germany against...
no.
I think it's 35 games since Germany last won in regulations.
That, you know more than me, but probably...
And the audio mix,
I think
the production from Rotterdam in particular, you can hear the umpires talking to each other very, very clearly. So I'm going to try not to talk over them
but again, like you
when I hear them talking.
To the best of your game if you play against great nations as well.
Because you can really pick up on the way that they support each other and how they come to an agreement as to what they're going to do next.
Beat them once, and best do it in a game that's really important.
Oops. Sorry, voice channel.
Fine, this was probably the last.
Sounds cutting out here. I don't think it's me,
2-0, was it?
but I'm getting heart palpitations.
You commentated that. You should have.
Good to see you, Andrew.
I did Germany, Ukraine.
That's awesome.
That was my first ever hockey commentary.
So make sure that if you're at home and you're watching on the YouTube, you need to go to watch.hockey and fire up the game.
Nothing comes of it.
That's a great pick.
One of those rare, clean back tackles. Green cards returned. And I think Celine called sort of the attacker who'd just been dispossessed for trying to create some stick sound there.
Is back on the pitch.
I can see already that 5 meters is going to be an issue in this game.
She's a really good defender, and obviously she makes
China's really trying to up their ball speed from yesterday, so they're trying to take quicker free hits, quicker self passes, and if the teams aren't disciplined and they start trying to answer back to the umpires more, that's going to put them at risk of getting in the way. Mike, you can't watch the game, you're multitasking, but you can listen to this. Hey, there you go. Exactly, just like that exercise. I described this, I can't remember when I said it. Maybe in the huddle that there's a good exercise you can do when you're watching games is to actually, when you're in a group, you turn around and you try to guess what's happening in the game just from the communication you hear from the umpires and their whistle tone. It's very instructive.
One of those umpires can actually communicate with, which makes it easier.
Oh, here's a chance. Belton pulls it back. Oh, what a finish for score. Helpers with the assist. And the score, like she did yesterday, finishes high.
Very nice goal.
This time on the forehand into the corner.
And one thing you might hear a lot, and the commentators really like this, they say, oh, it's really great communication from the umpires explaining their decisions to the players. And that could encourage us to think at home that, you know, we should be explaining our decisions to players. But there's a lot of danger in that. The danger being that we are occupying our brain with something that happened in the past rather than reading ahead into what is about to happen. It's more than living in the present, it's living in the future. So there are chosen moments where it is a good idea to explain to players what you've just called, but you don't want to get into the habit or the pattern of doing it throughout an entire game. Because there is some crying wolf with that. We know that the players know what they've been called for, and there's no need to explain it to them. They just disagree with you, and you're not going to change their minds. So think about when that is instructive. Focus on proactivity. Focus on your reading. Focus on telling the players what you want them to do, not from a coaching perspective, but from a rules perspective.
That's what they do now.
And
Just transfer.
keep reading the next thing that's going to happen. And the thing after that, the thing after that. Okay, I keep tripping my mouse, so I'm going to put this away so I don't touch it, because I have to touch this. Okay. I got it. Don't worry. So you've got a nice contingent in the voice channel. Good to see you, Jenny. Thank you very much for your direct message the other day. There's a lot in it, so I want to answer you properly when I have a hot minute.
Which is good because Eva, obviously, she had rehab and she needs to focus on herself right now. So it's good the team can take over. The team can take over and just have a shared leadership model and take over and just take over.
I don't like the sign of this. I'm just going to refresh this. This is the problem that I was having.
That's joy. Phillips joy.
Looks like we just missed a goal.
Joy.
Sorry.
Joy. Joy.
Okay.
Wider for the first, score for the second. Wider for the first, score for the second.
And again, she's got this.
All right. I just need to do a restart of Chrome. I don't know what's happening. What's happening? Somebody tell me what's happening in the game, please. So as we're doing it, we've had an early intervention from Celine on what I think was a breakdown. And I think it's really important for us to look at those events and realize that's first quarter. You know, there's no, when the players understand what they're doing and why they're doing it, you want to step in early and set your standards and show the players exactly what it is that they can and cannot do. The green card is the warning, right? It's a relatively minor penalty to give, personal penalty to give, but it's important to do it right off the start so that the players get the message and it will deter them from doing that in the future, rather than saying, oh, I don't want to step in too early because then I'll paint myself into a corner and blah, blah, blah. No, the players paint themselves into corners. Okay, so that's gotten restarted. And bear with me. Don't switch. Don't switch.
Reception by Albers. Gives it to
We're back.
For score. She puts it in. Brilliant goal. And then again,
at the first quarter break, I imagine that in addition to taking a breath, what Lorraine and Celine will be doing is just confirming, okay, so we've had the one green for this.
Yeah, I think you'd like to see the keeper stand up and try and
What
set
else
that
has
with the right
happened? Have we
kicker.
had any other interventions? Has there been any verbal warnings if something was close but not enough of a high impact foul to cause an issue? And plan what they're going to do next. Okay, so they will discuss if this is the next breakdown foul by this team, how are we going to look at it? So it's not about prejudging what happens, it's just planning and setting out your options so that the wheels are greased and you're ready for going back out there.
Stepping down a bit and just letting go, and then it gets dangerous again. But that rarely happens with the Dutch, to be honest. Great cross.
Second quarter underway, the Dutch threatening to add to this lead.
You're very welcome, Casper. It's nice to have you, and you know, come to the Discord server.
That was only going one way, wasn't it?
Yeah, it did look a bit.
There's another
again,
one that
it's
was off the
different
end line
outputs
there,
with
I can
different
tell
opinions
from
on
their
that.
discussion.
Some are very strict, and some, let it go. But
Just the way the shoulders are pointing. I mean, it's
And
parallel
Charlie's
to the
describing
baseline,
one of the
but it looks
factors that we look into quite effectively there, which is where is
I
the
don't know what
body
position Louise
shape,
Dalton plays. Does she play
the
defender?
posture of the
Play on
player,
top?
the defender who puts the ball off the end line,
more like a mid.
when they are faced in that direction, it's much more likely, it's just very natural that the ball is going to be going straight ahead of them. So
First time ball up the line.
but there's more than that that we look for. So you can hear Lorene there. She's saying obstruction, in my opinion. She and Yanni Mulders. She's talking to Yanni Mulders right now.
That's a great
Yanni
completely
on the
opposite
sideline,
game, but unfortunately, China couldn't get a stick on it.
and
Just
it's
joking with the umpires there.
yeah. It was nice to see those moments of rapport. And I would caveat that for all of us, is that Lorene and Yami have a great relationship that they've built over years of them being involved in games together. And there is a little bit of a danger, again, for us, that we can get distracted by having that conversation. So use with care, use at the right times,
Yeah, China's
and if you
lucky
can have that
they
little
can't
quiet
get
word that helps you build the
the ball
rapport,
behind that ball.
go for it. If you're in the middle of making a whole bunch of decisions,
Good defensive work. Get the ball out of the immediate danger zone. Clonison. Far side. Van Heffen. No way through. Back they
good to
come.
see you, Vanry. I
Good
can see you
patient play.
just
There's Ponsing. Ponsing guys go through the middle.
popped in
Needs
there.
to go round the side. They can't rely on
Casper, do I think or agree the international level allows more physical play than on local or Hoofdklasse level? I don't think so, but I'm not an expert on, I wouldn't, I know I don't watch as many Hoofdklasse matches as you would, Casper. I try to see as many as I can, but, I try to focus on what's available to everybody, and I think that there's a level of subtlety and intelligence with the way it's used at international levels. I think actually these players are more understanding of where the line is, and they push right up to it, but they stop. Whereas at domestic levels, and I would say that this is fairly true for things that I've seen in Bundesliga and English Prem and the can't remember the name for the Spanish top competition. I've watched things from all that, and there's just a level of experience and knowledge about the game that you don't see necessarily at the domestic level. EHL, that's why EHL is so interesting, because those players, there's a mix of the very experienced international people on some sides and domestic players, and the domestic players often don't quite make that step up in terms of intelligence. And to be totally frank, players at the international level are getting better, more consistent umpiring than you do even at the top domestic levels in all of these great countries. So
they want to
the
get
players are
shown
better at
after this.
identifying and understanding
The new kit, I bet,
where
I'm
that
sure
line
she'll
is,
give it away.
because they're getting better messaging.
It is too.
And that's why it's really important, I think, for us at home to be doing the right things, because we will build smarter players. We will build players that step up to the next level better than if we don't umpire as well as we can, if we don't keep things consistent, if we don't umpire to the consensus. I hope that makes sense.
Left-hand side of her back, so obviously something quite tight around the midriff, but seems to be moving okay today.
Mike, worth chatting about how to manage differences in views between umpires at quarter halftime. In the heat of the game, potential interventions, giving a view and being receptive. Absolutely. And you know, you could do an entire presentation on this topic, and I know Vanry, Crispy, you know, are watching, and you know, we've all been in situations where it, even on big stages, where our colleagues don't necessarily, you know, it seems like maybe you're not seeing things eye to eye. And this is where your communication skills, your people skills really come to the fore. You're developing relationships with your colleagues, not just during the game, obviously. You know, that's why you have an extensive pregame talk, so that you can try to identify maybe some sticking points, some places where you don't, maybe you're using different language. You do agree, but you're using different language, so it seems like you disagree. The experience of these umpires working together and knowing what each other's tendencies are, how you see it, and the fact that they umpire together also influences their umpiring, because they're learning from each other. So I think it's, you know, it's nothing I can wrap up in a little box for you. But
Alba's absolutely everywhere, isn't she?
I've had questions lobbied at me from people who said, well, my supporting umpire didn't give a card here, should I? And to me, I say, if your gut just is yelling at you that needs to be a personal penalty, not talking about the team penalty, but the personal penalty needs to be given, then do it. Because more often than not catching that moment is what affects the management for both of you in the game. Okay, there's a 5-meter infringement there on that aerial ball right outside the D, very close. There's a lot of conversations being had about when do we gauge these aerial offenses to be intentional or not. I'm not going to say that was. I also think there's a bigger issue in that as to whether, I mean, intentionality is one thing, but what is the real disadvantage? And sometimes it's not as disadvantageous as we think it is for the 5 meters to be infringed upon on an aerial reception. But I've talked about that on a lot of streams. So Casper, your perception is that on the local level you see more respect, knowing each other between the top level players.
The keeper makes the save. Not sure she knew a lot about
that. That's very fair. The more you play together, the more you admire each other. That's all there. Well, I'm definitely going to be doing a reboot of my system at halftime, because I think what happens is the video memory gets bogged down. It's a long story. It's a long story.
Oh, that's a nice ball. The circle here. Cross it comes from Zandervad. And the foot penalty going to number 4.
When you watch different umpires, watch how they move themselves. It's not just about where they move, but how they move. Lorraine, because she's a player and she's very athletic, and this is just her movement pattern, she tends to do a shuffle skip step to move side to side. I think it's worthwhile also working on something that involves less vertical bounce, because when the ball is very close to you, any movement that you take up and down just exacations, it's an outsized impact on what you're seeing. You want to kind of stay smooth if you can. Okay, if you were watching Lorraine there, she gave that little chin up, looking up for Celine.
Yeah, really good first running again of China.
to get the to get the signal
Every time I've watched China play,
and to enforce, and then Celine can answer over the radio as well. What you'll notice is that the umpires here at this level, they don't just rely
number 13 for China.
on radios. They use their body language as well,
I think she's also the tallest.
because they're not just getting cooperation, they're showing cooperation. They're showing it to the players, to the coaches, to the fans,
They have to
everybody.
Felice Albers again.
They have to stop playing just the left half back and put out to be fighting against Albers.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's
Great running.
Okay, a head injury, as we know, that's one of those situations that even if that player is in danger, even if that player hasn't gone down, we do want to stop time so that they can get the appropriate treatment, like Lorena stopped time there.
And ball on the head today. She's one of them star players, Gubin Feng. They don't want to see her go down with any injury. Van der Vaart.
happy. It's okay.
Just
Yes,
about
and Casper
getting
just saying here sometimes it explodes there too, even when there's a lot of respect between the players. Yeah, I need to watch more of that level or that particular league to understand where that comes from.
It's nothing.
But my feeling is when things are exploding, it has a lot to do with how consistent interventions have been and how well timed they've been throughout the game. And
half a touch.
red cards don't come out of it nowhere. I'm not saying it's ever an umpire's fault because players have choices. What I'm saying is a lot of players make really bad choices in response to what I think might be not the appropriately timed interventions,
Dropping it out.
if that makes sense. But you're saying with the head injury, what are the rules or the tips on the continuation? It, like I was saying, Casper, it's just a flat out stop time because our concerns about
Again,
concussions
China hasn't
and
really touched the ball
the
in a
need to
while.
immediately get them looked at
Yeah, Justin Cunning's been a complete bystander
overrides a
in
lot
this
of
one,
things.
hasn't he?
Blood is the other one. If a player starts bleeding,
corner
you know,
China
they're,
had
I don't know,
was
they've been
defended by the
they've
front
fallen
runners.
on their
She
elbow
hasn't
and now they've got a
touched the
big
ball at all.
gash. Okay, nice proactive communication there from Lorene on the 5 meter.
Ball across. Oh, Matler's missed it.
Just back there, please. Back there. Thank you.
And Nachhoven.
Yeah, it's good to move the ball around
And
now to
then
get the Chinese block going.
At this
try to
level
find
and
gaps
the
because they are
regulations at
so deep now in the 11
you know,
yellow
top domestic
players.
levels usually are and should be that if a player
Take all the
receives medical
space.
attention on the pitch, then they have to come off
On the top of the circle.
for 2 minutes of playing time. If that player can get themselves off the pitch and it,
Felice Albers, when she had
without
that chance in
the medical personnel stepping on the
she
pitch,
wanted to
then
complain
they
about
can
the
come back
cross
whenever
where
it's deemed that they're good to come back.
a corner, but the umpires obviously didn't think it was one. Playing a great game so far.
Didn't she?
It's really the
We
difficult.
saw that graphic on the screen about the.
You could just hear Lorene on the radio saying it's really difficult. I think she's
They opened their
talking
account
to
on
the-
second
talking
against
about
New
the shade
Zealand.
that's falling across
Then
the
they
pitch.
played India and then England. It's opened up. Shot.
When the ball moves from a shady portion right into the sun, we all know this. It can get tough to track.
It's a shame she can't quite get the stick on it. Otherwise, it would have been a free shot from the top of the D. Could have been very, very
It's
dangerous.
almost the same conditions in Rotterdam as it is in Calgary. Look at that. Do I like orange as a fashion color? Is asking Casper. What do you think?
Matler.
Have you ever seen me wear
Defending
orange?
Matler has been struggling to get her stick properly on the ball for the last 3-4 goes because she's always got someone right behind her.
My
It's
city
hard to
colors,
receive.
my university colors, my country colors. are all red, black, white.
Nice. Finally, China manages to open up the game.
I have a second business
other
now
side.
that is all about the blurple.
Right, if it
That's
would
the
try
spice
to
in my wardrobe, is
tackle,
blue.
bit of
A
stick
bluish
check there.
purple. But no, I'm not a fan of the orange color. I'm
The
a,
first time in a long
I'm
time
a
they've been in
summer.
the
Look at my,
25.
look how
Yeah, it
pink I am as a human.
Leave you to each other there, and in the end,
I don't look good in warm
Van
tones.
Daarhoven, I think it is, takes responsibility.
Okay, so request for a referral.
Referring that. China wants a corner for this.
I'm looking for an obstruction from the Netherlands in the D.
Okay, looking for an obstruction by the defender in the circle.
Okay, so we've got Bruce Bale in the commentary box. If you're watching and
China's playing the
you know,
ball
if you're in the voice channel, you're noticing that the audio and the video are out of sync. They are. I'm not touching it until halftime. But Bruce, Bruce has been building on his experience over years. I consider him to be one of the best in the video booth. Generally speaking, back in about 2017-18, he was doing some amazing work in the video booth, and I loved it because I was like, he was just so spot on accurate. He's a very technical umpire. And if you are that kind of person, you're very technical, maybe the feel,
Celine, there is no clear reason to change your decision.
maybe the
Restart
feel
with a
and the
3 hit to
communication
defense and China
elements
moves to
are
referral.
not your strengths. Don't worry. Everybody has their better sides. And if you are a very accurate technical umpire,
It's a shame for China to lose the referral so early in the game. So they are. She's
Yeah,
in front
that's a
of
really
Flemings
weak
to her
referral.
teammate, but there's no one else who would have
I think they
otherwise
struggle.
she's not blocking anyone to get there.
They struggle with communication and understanding interpretations at a high level, so they don't have this explained to them the way that they probably need to because of language barriers, and that they just don't access the conversations in the same way that we do. Like, would any of the Chinese players be watching this broadcast? No. But anybody speaking English, you know, this is accessible for them.
It's
And
nice to see China step up
I
a bit
recognize
and
that.
get back into the game.
It's a
Again,
real
made it back into the 23.
a real disadvantage for
Now here's the chance.
non-English speaking
And Li
teams.
Hong jumps it wide.
This is a nice ball over the left foot, and she actually got a nice touch on it in the
Amanda,
back, and
good to see
unfortunately
you.
can't quite get it on target, but it's nice how quickly
Just
she
wait.
takes the shot.
It's really fun in the Discord.
No.
And again, some pressure for China.
You know, we didn't see what happened, but I think it was an aerial. I think it was a
Bouncing across and
defender
Li Hong
encroachment
can't keep it in.
on an initial receiver because the ball was coming out from that end, and just from the whistle from where the players were, China goes to the air a lot. So there are a lot of aerial decisions to be made whenever they're on the pitch.
Good defense by China.
And when you know that as an umpire, that's going to change the way you move. You have to make sure you cover that in your pre-match chat. You've got the takeoff, you've got the landing. If you were watching
Colin,
this game yesterday, it was Bruce and Lorraine, and you'd hear Lorraine say, "That's yours, Bruce." "Yep, got it."
Sanders,
And they were
winning.
confirming it as the aerials were going on the pitch, and that's a really nice
Winning once
piece of
more.
communication that you can have with your teammate over the radios, if you have radios.
Final minute
If you don't have radios,
of the first half.
get radios.
And the Netherlands have far more joy today than they had
If you don't have
yesterday,
radios, you
haven't they, in
really
terms of
have
open
to
play
plan
opportunity.
this out well pre-game.
Yeah, it's been a great half for the Dutch team. They had a lot of opportunities. They were able to play together as a team. Obviously, scored 3 times, which helps and boosts morale. But yeah, it's good for China to finish this half with a few scenes in the opposite half and give them some
Nice
confidence
play on
as well.
from Lorraine there. I like that because although the ball wasn't
Oh, here she goes
solidly
again.
stopped on the
That was
ground on that
good
aerial
goal.
reception, that player had
Lifted
control,
away from the score.
and she chose to play it forward.
Half a touch on it,
It
and it goes
no
past the
impact
far post.
whatsoever from the
Three
Chinese
goals
defender.
again, creating an opportunity.
Off you go,
Lovely-
you play on.
lovely drive again. No one
And
can
that's
get to
something
the-
that I think we're going to
fresh
see in the
score.
next few years. We're going to
Almost
see that
missed it.
improve.
That would have been little.
Okay, that we're going to see
So,
We're going to see umpires getting better at gauging what is a mishandle and what isn't. What kind of infringements do make a difference and what don't. All that kind of thing. Hello, Mr. Van Keckham. Good to see you. From the Netherlands. I'm sure that you're watching this match on... You're watching on NOS or... I don't even know what channel. Telephone contact works very well. I mean, there's inventive ways that you can work around. You know, putting in some headphones can really work. This is fascinating. I might be doing it at the quarter now. You can see how the video is now stuttering here on our end. So just give me a moment. I'm going to do my be right back screen. No, I'm not going to do that. I can keep chattering while this is happening. It's fine. It's fine. Okay. Too much going on. Oh, good times. Okay, so while I'm doing that, if you had any questions from the first half, maybe not so much about particular plays, because like anybody, you're watching a game, you're like, so at 2:32, when your umpire coach is doing your assessment, at 2:32 in the first quarter, you made this foot call. Do you remember anything about that? You're like, was I even there? So it's really important to change your focus as to what you're seeing, what you're observing. Let's start some music in the background anyway. The trends, the shape of the game, the mood of the game, maybe how particular decisions are impacting that, but not necessarily what the accuracy of a particular decision is. It's how did the players react? Where is the communication now between the umpires and the players? Where is the trust level? Where is the rapport? Oops, that's not my password. That's not my password either. This is my password. There you go. What is semaphore? Semaphore can work when you have no radios. No idea what that is. Please do expand. You watch Ziggo, says Casper. It's commercial. Okay. Okay. I like that. So one of the interesting parts about hosting watch parties is sometimes the matches are really full of controversial things, and they're tight games, and there's temper, and there's many cards needing to be given out, many intervention points, many conversation points. And then sometimes you get matches that have started out and they've gotten to halftime, 3-0, one team's very well in control, and you think, oh, there's nothing that's going to be happening here. At any point, things can change, but there's always something we can learn from watching a game, even when nothing happens. The question to ask yourself in that situation is, okay, is nothing happening because the umpires have done a really good job in communicating? They've set their standards, interventions have been made, whether they were cards or whether they were verbal interventions, whatever the case might be, such that the players are now going to play within the boundaries that have been set, and they're going to do their thing, and the umpires just get to sit back and watch a great game, right? Noticing the turning points in the game. If there haven't been any turning points, if there haven't been any moments in which you thought, ooh, that really needed to be a card. One of the things that I often do in these events is if I see one of those moments, I'll say, pin that, pop a pin in that one, because that one is going to come back to bite later on in the game. And I'd say about 80-90% of the time I'm right. And when it doesn't, that doesn't mean that that mistake or that less correct timing, that lack of intervention was the right choice. It's just sometimes it doesn't end up being a bad consequence for you. So studying those patterns can really help you in your own games to appreciate, I can't wait until the 4th or the 5th or the 6th time that I've seen this before I intervene. I have to be on this right away. I have to get it the first time. Not necessarily a card, but I have to be there. I have to be communicating to the players, hey, no, the first time it happens. And now Chrome is not giving me this game at all. So let's try this again. Hope you're all getting some tea. Having a bio break, not me, no. Okay, used a different login. Okay. Okay, I'm going to leave that where it is for the rest of the halftime break. Usually at this point, when it's just us on Discord, this is when I'm off making tea. But I can't do it while we're live on YouTube. I got to keep talking. So ask me some questions. Mr. McCartney, no game ever finishes as it starts. Always expect teams to try new tactics. Yes, especially when 3 down and little to lose. That's very, very true. And sometimes it's not about, or it has very little to do with the result. It has to do with what tactics are going to come out, as Mike points out. Is one team going to decide that they're going to press? So I was coaching last night. Our ones were playing. And we had played the first half. And we had been playing this kind of slant 2/3 press. And we were just really sluggish. Really, really sluggish and not really developing anything. And I said, all right, you guys want to press? We're going to press. And it wasn't because I thought it was a better way to defend, but I thought it was a much better way to attack, because it got the players into a mind, it just changed up their mindset that they were going to be aggressive. That's the kind of thing that you should be thinking about as you're umpiring. What are they going to want to change out of this? And even if nothing does change, it gives you the opportunity to work your brain in a different way. Instead of thinking about that foot that you missed in the first quarter, you're thinking ahead, you're planning. And all of this is so much more useful than getting caught up in what you can't change and what nobody can change. Why does the field have to be blue? Okay, this is what I understand, Casper, is that the matches that are televised, they've done studies that show that especially the night games, but not exclusively, but the night games in particular, there's better optical contrast between a white ball and a blue turf than a white ball and a green turf. Especially amongst people who have color detection deficiencies. I'm not colorblind. I mean, I'm not colorblind, but I struggle with green and blue sometimes. If I have teams out there that are wearing green and blue, I'm like, oh boy. So I try to pick something else out on the uniforms that's more distinctive for me, because I just struggle with it for whatever reason. So that is a requirement by the FIH for certain level tournaments. I find it interesting that I've heard rumors that Amsterdam are ripping up their green turf, laying down a blue turf, and then they're gonna, after the World Cup, they're gonna put down a green turf again. I'm not the boss of them. There must be a good reason for it. I just don't understand what it is. And I love you love the yellow goals in the EHL. I didn't notice, but I'm sure I love them too. I'm sure they were awesome. Okay, I am going to Let's see. Watch
Well,
stream.
the only way is up from that position. I
There we
guess.
go.
You're not
So
pleased
we are
with,
getting
the
ready.
time, but yeah, that will be frustrating for her to see
And
how
yes,
to run
this little
the ball
section
off the
down
end of the stick
here.
twice.
Yeah, as she said, like if you're on ball
What they're
possession, you
showing
shouldn't
is they're
just give
showing
it away as
the sprinkler is
easily,
still
especially if
going in
it
one
ends up
area of the
in a
pitch.
goal, conceding a goal and,
But don't
and
worry,
that's
when the game
obviously if you
restarts,
control
that's where the
ball,
time
you
is
can
going to be.
control it. If they have a great build up and you can't do anything about it, then that's great by them. But that's unfortunate.
Yeah,
for us.
the Indian players, I find it's harder for me to pick them out, of course, on when it's blue on the blue pitch.
And with it all to do
But
against the Netherlands.
I understand that. Amsterdam's going green, blue, green. Yep.
Small steps, I guess. They want to be
Very
a little
unusual.
bit more competitive, a little bit more aggressive. They can do that. See
Nope.
what happens. They managed to get a goal.
I
Great.
need to
Try and
stop
get
the
a
background music now. There we go.
It's what you
We're
said
set.
about they didn't
This
really
is going
fight, like, you
okay.
need to
We've
have that
gotten through a
mindset to
half.
step up.
Look,
She never has to give 120%,
if I was going to
and if
set
it's
a
just running
benchmark
and
as to
physical, defending
how well
and
this was going to go,
that bit of fight,
on
and
a
if you
scale
don't
of
bring that, then
1 to 10,
it's
we're at a
too easy
solid
for
7.
the Dutch to lead by, in this case, 3 goals.
30 minutes of hockey, I'm not mad.
Oh, they've left done it again.
Didn't see
And
it.
this time is leader by Velton. Well, I'll tell you what, if they score from this, the Dutch, it ain't going to improve the mood of Alison Annan.
Yeah, that's another good start for the Dutch team. I mean, Velton got the ball in the D and she
Okay,
protects
I'm
with the body, so
Martine.
the
I
only
think
way
that
to get to
the
balls
the
is
play
to just
that they're
with a
replaying
stick
has moved
tackle,
on
which
since there.
is, yeah, and obviously in corner.
I did not
I don't know,
notice,
you've got to try
but
and get your body round,
I
so
will
you're coming in
double
at
check.
like 24 there.
later.
Wang Na, but she was marking in the middle. But that's
This is the
position
game.
you need to
Can I be
attack.
paying attention to the right times or not?
Jansen's on the bench, but that doesn't make too much difference for the Dutch. And Larkhoven and Kolen. It is Sonicolen. Slap, save, deflection onto the head. Penalty stroke, it's come off the head of Lee, and they haven't got a referral.
Yeah, that's interesting because they can't refer it, and I'm not sure the goalkeeper was not behind that player now because it's an interesting angle. So that's the first shot, saved by actually the second runner.
Going wide, going wide. I don't think that's going inside.
And then that one, yeah, it wouldn't have gone in the goal, and then it wouldn't have been a penalty stroke. But they
So we
can't refer
reviewed a
it.
decision last week before, on What If Wednesday about a
decision was
penalty
done.
stroke decision that she
She's
made.
obviously sure about it,
The
otherwise
goalkeeper
she'd go,
was
"Oh,
behind the defender, but was she in a position where she would have likely made a save, or was it a probable goal? And there were a lot of struggles, and unfortunately when it went to video referral, it did get overturned. Part of it was language being used
a second
about
for
whether
Miller, and it's 4-0.
that was
Ball's
the
coming
determining
within a
factor, but it's
minute
not.
and 4
The
seconds.
criterion is not, is there a goalkeeper behind the player who gets struck with the ball and commits an unintentional foul? No,
That's
the
scene
foul,
again.
or
It's
the
hard to see
wording
it
is,
would have gone
is
in,
it
but it was a penalty
an
stroke.
unintentional foul that stops
The
a
way
probable
Butler
goal?
puts it in is just a great stroke. The goalkeeper goes complete other way.
I didn't see really from my angle. What is interesting is that from a presentation perspective, that umpires have the opportunity to self-refer. Some umpires are very good at using their self-referrals. They understand that it's not just a tool for accuracy, but it can be a tool for management and building trust with the players. Like, hey, you know what? I want to take another look. And that is a very skillful thing to have and do. And sorry, Jenny, I'm just going to give you a little mute here because there's just some background coming through.
See that free hit.
It's a very useful skill to have. It's like for those of us who don't have video referral, which is most of us, it's understanding from the reactions that you're getting from players that it's not that you're agreeing with their peeling, you're not giving in, but you're saying, here's an opportunity for me to consult with my colleague, to give players time to settle down, to show them that I'm willing to examine and I'm willing to discuss
It's-
with
again,
my
if they have the
colleague,
ball,
and then
they
I'll
actually
come
did
back and I'll
the
give that
precious ball
decision.
because the possession-
So
they
an
only had 20%
alternative for
possession in
Celine
the
there
first
could have
game,
been
and if you don't
to
touch the
use her
ball, it's so
self-referral.
draining and takes a lot of energy
China
to
has
just
lost their
defend.
referral. They don't have it. And just because a player gets hit in the head, it's like one of those, oh, like, I'm sorry, your head stopped a goal. And if you want me to get into the danger debate here, I will.
Deflected by the second runner.
I'd prefer not to,
And then that second
but
ball
I could.
touches the Chinese body. Just a stroke in this
And
case.
But the keeper's definitely not behind her.
No. And that's just
sorry, I was just listening to how they were describing that.
Change of goalkeeper
That
for
they're,
China at
let's
half-time.
try to get away from this
But also the Chinese
vocabulary
team, they're still missing
on those penalty
some
strokes,
players,
whether the
4 or 5
goalkeeper's
players
behind or
probably
not.
from
It
that
is,
best
was the goalkeeper in a
province
position
China
that
where all the best
they
players
could have
play.
made a
So
save there,
you
a
never
likely
know
save,
who will actually
or
come to
was
the
it
World
a
Cup and
probable
will it be,
goal?
you know, a different team, or at least
Was it
a third of the
improbable
team
that
might be
they'd make the
completely
save?
different. So
If it was
you
improbable,
never know how they will
Oh, or
show
the
up
stroke.
in a week's
Okay.
time.
Casper agrees, I think. I don't think you're just stating the fact that it was awarded. I think you're saying you agree. That's totally fair.
Really nice long ball. Put it into space.
Celine has a very challenging angle with the sun.
Luring, still going. It's Sanders.
Don't worry, I got this one. There was the first one, but she lost that one.
Yeah, I know, Charlie. I don't know if you're listening to different commentators than we are, Gideon, but you know, from the angles that we had in the replay,
Picking to Van Geffen,
I just wasn't sure.
even on the reverse stick.
But
Post.
my
Nice ball,
the way I
Matt,
approach
good
these
shot back to
things
Moj.
is that if there's a
Take them
skilled,
all.
experienced umpire who has a better view than me,
It's ugly, ugly,
I
ugly
accept
from
them.
the
I accept what they have to say. Commentators, their
goalkeeper,
job,
Yang.
unfortunately, is to stir up some debate.
Really nice first ball to the top
Not
of
all the
knee.
time, but occasionally,
And,
and
then Matlin knows
they're
exactly
treading
where
a
their
line.
teammate is and puts it into space.
for causing that interest.
Nooning just takes the time to go all the way around the goalkeeper, so in the end she ends up stick tackling, and which is of course a penalty stroke because otherwise
Yeah.
it would have been a shot on goal
So the
for her.
goalkeeper hits her halfway up the stick.
And again, Matla.
Does she go the same
Intentional.
way?
Doesn't matter about the probable goal part. It's intentional.
She doesn't. She
Oh,
goes the
she
other
almost had it.
side, but it's the same result. Matla has a hat trick. And the Netherlands
So-
are 5-0 to the good.
When you're watching games on TV,
That's interesting.
I think it's
Matla
really
stroked
useful
in a few
to
minutes later.
sometimes
Those mind games. Do you think
turn
that
off
I
the
think that you
sound
think?
But Hendricks,
and go back and watch it again. Don't listen to the omniscient voices in the sky. Form your own judgments, because none of us are fully aware of how influential
That's the thing, you
commentators'
think, you know,
vocalizations
they know what they do,
are
but
on the
actually that
forming
one
of
she
our own
tried to go for
opinions.
the right, but didn't quite get it into the
I'm not
corner.
saying they're
And the
wrong, I'm
goalkeeper
not
didn't
saying
move
they're
as
right,
much. She could have gotten a
but
touch on it,
the
but
number of times that
it's
people
so
come
really
to me
hard.
and say, and they spit out the exact verbiage they heard from a commentator,
Outright
I
third
think,
position
blah, 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 blah.
in the goal-scoring
quote from the
charts on
commentator.
7.
And I'm like, really? Did you think that? Or were you
teammate
told
Yivi
that?
Jansen.
And you just absorbed it and accepted it? Challenge yourself. Be critical, be analytical, and challenge. All of the matches that I watched from Tokyo had no commentary on them whatsoever, and it was amazeballs. I loved every second. Despite the fact that I missed some of the commentary, you know, the people, and I enjoy the experience of listening to them, we were able to have watch parties where we could be completely, it was like we were sitting in the stands and able to form our own opinions. God, I loved
Free
it.
hits. Zhang Ying with it.
It was Eurosport. And if you want to know how I got Eurosport,
Another loose ball, and Nuning now with a chance to drive at the heart of the attack. Here is Velton. Velton looking for the support. Li Hong is there to try and get it away. Back with Velton. Good skill from leader by Velton, and wins the penalty corner. Wonderful hands in such a confined space. Nothing Li Hong can do.
But again, it's China gives away the ball in their build-up, and it ends up in results in a corner for Holland, and that's exactly what.
that was a quick little third-party obstruction.
It was fine the previous one, but just on the edge. She's seconds. Well done.
Okay, so I think Celine was talking to the attackers there, because that many words expressed to the Chinese defenders would have zero effect.
Sanders, it will be Janssen, good number 1 running again from Li Hong.
Danger corner. Danger. Dangerous. Yeah.
Okay,
Sorry. Yes, penalty
It's
corner,
again
sorry.
excellent running from the first runner. She
and you can
gets
see
touch on
Lorraine's
it,
putting her finger on her ear,
it becomes a dangerous
not
ball,
because
so
she
it's
can't
another
hear,
corner,
but
again,
she's helping
really quick. She
communicate
makes it
to everybody,
perfect.
oh,
She
we
gets
just had a
touch on
hearing
that.
problem.
Yibi Janssen drag flick.
Okay, that's really
That
good
deflection is dangerous.
body language.
It's another corner.
It's very positive.
Playing line up at the top of the circle. Janssen wide.
Okay, we're a little out of
It almost looked like she was
sync
going
on the
for a
audio
deflection.
again.
Let's have a look.
Let me
Janssen
fix that. Oh, I hope I haven't screwed it up. Maybe I did. Okay,
Take the circle, please.
I'll stop pressing buttons.
Lee.
I got 8 more minutes till the next quarter when I have to reboot again.
The hit from a stationary ball, not going to the open stick, going out for a sideline ball, and then the trap ending up on your foot.
Raya,
It just
can you
makes
please?
life really hard for you. And yeah, all you need is
Trying to
ball
pick up
direction,
on what
confidence, get
Lorraine
everyone
is
to touch
talking
the
about
ball
there. I'm
once.
not sure who she's communicating with.
Going to be a tough second half this for China if it carries on in this vein. We're
Again, I think the Chinese says it's a hand, but they can't refer it, and actually in that replay now it looks like it was hand and then foot. Anyway, but they lost the video referral so early that for the rest of the game, for the next 22 minutes, they can't refer anything, and that's not helpful as well.
Look at this. We are 6 minutes and 5 seconds in. They've conceded 2 goals already in this quarter and countless penalty corners. It's wave after wave of Dutch attack, and Matler's back on. Left-hand castle. White shoes. In it comes. It goes to Matler. Second shot. Good
sure the ball
secondary
also-
defence by the post player. Lee.
Hey, take only one, Celine. Yeah.
Route. I'm looking for a foot in the D, but can you check the whole situation to see if there is danger?
Close to the line, that, isn't it?
I think it was
This
the
could be
tap
interesting.
outside, yeah, and then the first runner did great running again. See,
And
that's on the line.
it doesn't matter
This doesn't
about
matter
whether it
because
went outside or not
question,
at
and
this
then I think
point,
they're saying the first
because
one
we're
touched
not
it.
talking about
I
whether a
thought that
goal
was a
has
great
been scored.
second defense as well.
It would only be
Might
relevant if we were talking about whether a penalty stroke should be awarded.
Happy with the foot. I just want to have a look at the other action as well.
Okay, so Bruce has been asked, and he will be looking at everything. So he might be looking at the height of this shot. Yeah,
If
the,
it, was, it shouldn't really
Show me
matter.
where it hits the
and
China player.
Julia
It
knows.
wasn't a goal.
the China
They're not
player.
challenging a goal or not. And technically, they could just pass around the D, couldn't
Yeah.
they?
And then it'd have to come back out, doesn't it? Not to have to
So
go
she
out
does
for
know
the
that.
first
So
shot.
now he's looking at the height.
Celine, I have a decision for you. It's a penalty corner, and Netherlands keep their referral.
Thanks, Ruth.
Okay, so he did look at the height, and he was happy
Ball was out.
that it wasn't dangerous.
No, yeah, just let's be sure.
Ruth, can you have a look at that for the next one?
Because if
And imagine your frustration if you were the Chinese defenders, that you don't know what's happened. There's just too much to process, too much to understand in a language that you don't understand. That had been looked at.
That one is outside, and that one is off the line
Same
by
idea. It
Lee.
was out, it was out, yeah, from my angle, it's very close.
This one I'm okay with that.
5 is good.
Okay, you can hear Lorene there saying 5 is good. So she's helping Celine, no, because Celine's angle is straight on to the ball and the attacker on the ball and the defenders lined up 5 meters. But Loreen can see from an angle that yes, the 5 meters has been given. Understanding when your colleague is going to need that help is a really valuable skill to have and something that you should be working on when you're on the radios. Very quick. Yep, 5's good. Across the pitch when a player's gearing up for an aerial. Yep, that's 5. And then your colleague can free themselves to go up the pitch and be only concerned with what's happening in the receiving area.
Harbours. Another look to maybe use this left-hand side.
Yeah, that could have been what Loreen was saying, was to watch for it, whether the ball had left
It's a nice ball, but it looks nicer than it actually was.
the circle the next
Just
time
using the
on a
backhand,
penalty corner. And
passing it across the whole pitch is-
I mean, it's
is
a valid thing
not
to
the
say.
chance
I think in that
players,
case, that was just a mis-execution of the skill, not a deliberate tactic that they're trying to. When a player has to move
And that save,
to when the stopper has to move to their right, because of the angle at which the ball's coming, it tends to move their stick closer inside the circle. So that's one of the cues you can look for as an umpire, is if the player has had to move to their right or to your left in order to give the stop, it's more likely that the ball is being stopped on the circle line or inside.
Oh, that's come all the way through. It was almost as if she wasn't expecting
Yeah, nobody's
it,
stopping
Lauren.
that one. Not in that sun.
I think it's hard to see as well with that the sun going down. And she's looking right in the sun. That's why 3 people missed it. Shame, that would have been her against the goalkeeper.
Toss.
We haven't seen too much of Dahota today.
dropping it
Not
out.
surprised. She's going to get into the rhythm, you know,
Along
a
the
few
corner,
shifts,
unless they can stop it going out.
not a regular play. This is ideal for them to be able to work her back into the international lineup here. And even if she can't play, you know, 30,
Rolls still going.
40 minutes a game, as she may have before, just her presence and her experience must be so valuable for them.
I know. But that's international hockey.
Looking good.
Yeah, of course, she gets, they score, great advantage, umpire. The score. Oh, keeper needs a big pull there. Colin.
Yeah, they have to move the ball because you can see almost every Chinese player in the picture right now.
So if you can
And again, there were 4 against the
remember in your
ball, so
mind's
just
eye
get them to move and then
from the
find
first
gaps
half
to
when
get
you saw
through.
Loreen moving
11.
around, and you compare
Just
that
set
to
up and now
Celine's
all 11
movement,
inside the 23.
Loreen is much more active and she tends to move more frequently than Celine.
It's a
Even
nice
in that
little
picture, you saw Celine maybe
Piece of skill.
doing a little bit of head thing.
Unfortunately,
It's
can't
not
get it.
necessarily
Still don't have
wrong,
to
but
Maybe they can
consider
Chinese.
what the difference is for you. If you can just make more frequent small adjustments to move around rather than craning, bending, and again, having that vertical difference that your brain then has to process and optically calculate what that means. And if you're moving smoothly and adjusting those angles rather than making it a jarring thing for your eyes to have to accommodate,
Possession for long. Here come the Netherlands
how
once
does that
more.
change what you can
Score.
see? Figure that out for yourself.
down this left-hand
Experiment.
side, though.
Try different ways. Try
Driving sort of
sidestepping rather than shuffling
Casually as Matt
and
does.
see what that feels like. Try moving
And again,
more,
you saw all
but with smaller
11 Chinese
steps.
players behind the ball, only
rather
a few
than
Dutch. But that means they're
a
not
big
mixing the
sprint,
numbers up
and then a
front
big
to actually
sprint, and then a
start
big
attack
sprint.
themselves.
How does that change? When would you want to use those skills?
Yeah, nice. Oh, Good defense. Nice ball, nice idea, but obviously
Okay.
the Dutch intercepted.
Lorraine, big sprint out to the sideline because
It's
she
good to
wanted
see
to
they're
get
trying.
around the
They're
players so
they're
that she
trying.
could
They're
see
still
in.
trying to play. They're trying to
Everybody knows I
create into
trumpet
this half,
interior
especially if
positioning,
you
but
haven't
with
been
where the
participating
players
in the game
were,
for
that is
more
a
than
good
two
choice
quarters.
to get really quickly on the outside. But then when do you want to be on the inside for that? And is it when it's likely going to be a turnover of ball and it's likely going to be heading into your circle because of where everybody's positioned?
You touched it. Number 11. Yeah, you know it. I'm sorry. Stop. Yeah. That's good. Coming for you.
Shane, how very dare you? I hope you're having a good morning, albeit late. I'm just kidding. Shane, you can always pop into the voice channel on the Discord as well. It might be a different experience for you.
Leon. The work
Yeah, that's good.
from Zhang Qindan. Well, they can. Pick the right ball.
That was good by China. They transitioned the ball. They opened up the field again.
Things have really
Holland has to work
lulled.
much harder to defend that,
And these
that's
are the
where they
moments in the
finally
games
get,
as well
some
that
form of
it's
outcome.
not just our attention that's going to wane, but if you're the one in the match, these are tough times to keep yourself there. And Jenny was pointing out in the server that she had just rewatched Adam Kern's interview that we did an umpire at home some months ago, several months ago. Oh,
Oh, they've left that. The keeper's going to have to make sure of this. They're going to be in trouble here. Belton. Wow.
And
What was China doing there? The keeper should be calling the defender onto Belton, not taking her herself.
and that, Adam said,
It's an absolute calamity.
studies have shown we can only concentrate for 7 minutes at a time.
Yeah, that was a
So what do you
goalkeeper
do?
mistake.
What do you do if your focus is going to be,
Deflected by China, no one was able to
disrupted?
stop it, so it's out and alone, and the goalkeeper steps out. I think
if you
she's
know that you
trying
have
to take
7
gear, which
good
is also
minutes,
some
how
form of
do you
penalty.
reset? How do you give
And then
yourself
obviously
a
it's
moment
easy for
to
Belton put that into
flick
open
away?
goal.
When do you make those
If the
choices?
goalkeeper had just stayed in the goal and
I think it's
put forward
really,
the
really
defender to come back
challenging
and intercept Belton,
at
she
any
would have
level of
had a chance
hockey.
of saving it, but instead the goalkeeper
Never
got
mind
outside the
international, to
ball
find a time when you
and
can
tried
look
to
away.
intercept and didn't.
And maybe it's not about looking away. Maybe it's about what you're focusing on. So instead of focusing on decisions, if the ball is underneath your colleague's nose, what you can do is you can focus on the movements of the players on the other side of the circle. Maybe you can look at something one particular player is doing. Where are they moving on the pitch? What are their cuts? Are they useful? All that kind of thing. And that can really change. Maybe that's enough to refresh your focus.
And I think she's cementing her place in the World Cup just by not being.
Okay, Lorraine's having an interesting conversation with
It's got worse. China, because the Netherlands have scored 3 in the third quarter.
Van Velten there.
By 6 goals to 0. Three-quarter time
Okay,
score.
I'm doing a
China
restart.
0, Netherlands 6.
I got 2 minutes. Let's do it. Background music. Let me know how this is going for you. I hope it's been a useful experience so far. Well, she was out as far as she could be. Now I'm questioning what I saw. How far out did she come, Casper? Did she try to play it with her stick outside the circle? I just don't know. Absolutely. So Gideon making a really good point that it's 6-0. This is a good time to be watching for and checking for frustrated players. The game that I umpired last night, after I coached, very much had that feel. the underdog team was very much in a mood to try to get the upset, but was rather disappointed when the game got away from them very quickly. And then there were little spats between the players that I had to be mindful of. Oh, I'm coming back. Don't worry. It's coming. Okay. Hopefully we're all back.
Been a
Shane,
chastening evening
good to see you in the voice chat.
in the office for China.
It's not
But
necessary. Okay.
as Alison Allen said
Yes.
at the start, 5 new players in, all looking to try and build on their experience.
So you may have heard Celine there. Number 19, that's not necessary.
Well, they will certainly learn from playing against the world's top side.
I'm not sure again which team.
And again, it's really interesting.
she may have been
that
talking to.
language barrier as well. It's hard
I'm
to
hoping
coach
again
during the game and
it was
in
the Dutch
moment
team
because
because
you can't, speak to them directly. And even in this
you
short quarter
have
break,
to
it's
keep
only
your
2 minutes, so
language
if I wanna
very,
say
very
something, I
simple
have to leave time for the dawn
when
just
you're
to
speaking to
then
players
translate
who
it.
don't speak
And then-
English.
so you really have to be very, very precise in
You
your messaging. What's the one thing
know.
you want to get across? And be very clear on that.
No.
You can, after the game, between games, you've got more time, you can do everything. But in that moment, it's hard enough in your own language, never mind in a second language.
That's an interesting little obstruction.
Passing well into the circle. Yeah, the 5 players that have come in.
And it's the kind of call that we have to
take
make
that for under.
where
Very
really
junior as well, yeah. And it's again
was the
it's
player
great they've
within
they get this game and they need
playing
to get
distance
these
of the
games.
ball, did they meaningfully
Because
get
that's
it
how you learn how to
obstructed?
grow and become a
Do you
better
make the
player.
choice to make the clever decision that no, you've just tossed the ball
Yeah,
away?
that's it, it's the growth mindset, you know.
At what
Yeah,
point
you
is
lose,
that
but
the
if
clever
you've
decision,
learned
or when
something
is
in
it
that loss,
just
then it doesn't
blowing the
matter,
whistle
it's
is
not
the
a failure, is
easy
it?
thing that keeps
And
everybody in
typically
your
you learn more in the losses than
umpiring
the
to
wins, so
expectation
it's again it's tough
and that
today
sort of
for
thing.
them,
You're
but
always
it
you're
will-
making these
they will
little
go a long way
calculations
with
all throughout the game. Very challenging.
Fine play.
Oh, she went to the locker room. Okay. Uh-oh. It's not a good sign.
Here goes Beacon-Moles, off the post.
that. Excellent cross. What a
Belt-
rocket.
The Velton get half a touch or no touch at all.
Now we're getting some
skill from
end-to-end, which is
Young Man.
really nice.
I think she did get a touch. It just went into the post. Might see the replay.
So this is something that we noticed, Gideon, on the weekend, that in the first game,
Long corner.
you know, the England men played very, very well and came out with a great result. Maybe the Belgians not quite on their best game. Came out on Sunday and Belgium were playing very physically. They were very intense,
He was like a short
and
hand jab. Ooh,
did not want a repeat.
Lawrence a little rash.
I mean, the
Sure,
games
that's
don't
fine,
mean
is it?
anything
Just about.
other than ranking points.
I was just going to say it's good to see that get them in the D, but then it
And
not getting much off it. I mean, a long corner is better than a 60
it, you know, it's all about
have to
pride
try
at
and
that
get some
point.
form of
And
outcome.
you as an umpire, when you're doing back-to-backs of teams
Go down the
that
middle.
you're seeing, what happened in the
let that
last
go
game,
in.
not because
No
it's going to
touch,
predetermine
16.
how you umpire this, but what are the players going to be feeling?
That's that cross. Yeah, and Velton touches it with it.
My ones last night, we
stick,
played
backhand.
the team that
Just enough. It's
we
just the
played,
post that allows it to
the
win.
last time we played them,
And
we
a
beat them.
green goal.
We beat them well,
There is the score.
3 or 4-1 or something like that. To me, it was an outsized result.
I thought there was a foot in
Not
that.
what I was expecting for that game. In the matchup, flip the score. It was 3-1 for them. All right, I'm not sure if we even
Those
scored
video
actually.
referrals, you typically wait for at least one
Now
other
that I think
player
about
to
it.
have seen the same thing as you, because you
And it
don't
was a
wanna
very different feeling game
take it yourself and then lose it because you had
because
different
our
vision.
opposition was very upset
but
that they
obviously
lost.
Matlow was alone on this one.
And there ended up being 3 cards in our game, which is in our league quite unheard of.
And again, the score.
Oh.
Good save onto the body, penalty corner. Oh no.
This is.
I thought she blew the whistle, but maybe the P didn't go.
I know.
I thought she blew the whistle.
I don't know what happened.
Oh, she didn't blow her whistle at
Penalty
all.
corner.
Yeah, but I think she maybe let,
So I
let it
think
Watch it.
the advantage because she actually now takes a shot. So she has her chance, maybe.
It's all
Maybe she
going on.
changed her
So,
mind and didn't blow the whistle.
There was danger.
This is clearly body and dangerous, and now she has a chance.
There was
to score, so
danger,
maybe she
but
said,
was it a
that's-
better result for the player to be able to continue at that point? She was able to recover. Looks like it hit her hand.
Now, broken
And
play
not her
might
body?
allow China some space to.
If Celine
Get the ball
calculated all that in that split second, that's pretty amazing. That's a very bold call. But anyway, it's our job to be prepared for those next matches. And coming up with a plan. How am I going to
lacking
speak
that
to the players?
quality in the final
Am I going to
third,
come out really,
probably because they're quite
or I'm going to be
rattled
like,
with what's
all
gone
right,
on
all right,
before.
I
China.
understand. Start off a little more
According
side
to your
on,
statistics, they
lowered
tried to get the scores
eyes,
in the last
lowered
quarter, right? So there
hands,
must be something
calmer
us
tone
to
of voice, slower
see later.
pace.
4 of the 6 goals
All
over the
those
last
things.
13.
Is that how you're going to do it, or are you going to try a
They've
different
scored
approach?
6 goals
And
over
if
the
things
last
don't
13 matches.
work
Ball
as that game is going on,
and, oh,
That's a big advantage she's taking for a free hit.
5. Yeah, 5 meters.
But again, that long
okay, if you
ball
heard
from
that
Holland just
over the radio, that
through
was
the
straight
middle.
in.
China has to stop them earlier
And
in their own
it
deep.
was Lorene over the
It comes
radio
from the
just
Dutch
giving a
D
little
almost
clue in.
straight through to the Chinese.
It's been a really long season. And as we're getting down to the end of a game where the scoreline is out of touch, it's really easy for us to lose focus. So help each other to stay in it. Radios really help with that. But
Janssen gets it strong.
if you're aware that that's a possibility with yourself,
Alvarez's touch.
I could lose
That's
focus in this
her
6-0
down.
game at this point. It is a good opportunity to find another thing to focus on, if you can. For Celine, it's hard because she's been making probably 80% of the decisions in this whole second half.
Too far, way too far.
But both these teams are
I know
going to
it was
be
too far. Yeah.
at the World
No
Cup
chance to play the ball.
next week. Both these umpires are going to be there. That experience is going to be very fresh in everybody's minds.
Speak Dutch to the Dutch players. The moment he got the assistant coach role from Alison Enbach, and he started taking Dutch lessons because he wants to be able to communicate with them, and also he wants to understand what's going on. And that's for a coach who's very empathetic, likes to understand team dynamics. Is obviously crucial because otherwise you're a bit left out. He even tried to learn Chinese back then, but that's obviously a whole other level.
Yeah, German to Dutch, not, I mean, obviously difficult, but not that hard.
It's like English to Scottish, probably. No, it's very close. And I think if he spoke German, most of them would understand him and vice versa, but he still thinks, I mean, it's nicer to communicate in their own language with
Yeah.
them, right? So, but it's obviously easier to learn than Chinese, 100%.
It's like English to Scottish. Don't think that's she was being sassy. Miller Wieland's got
So
jokes.
The Netherlands leading by 6 goals to 0. No addition to the scoreline since 3/4 time. And Geffen, I thought she thought that was going to roll away from her. Then realised that the spin was going to keep it in.
We can spend a lot of time in these games not seeing the umpire.
Twisting, turning,
That's a good thing.
free hit.
That means that they're in a good spot.
About 5.
Because if we could see Celine in this shot with all that passage that was over there in that far corner, it means that she's really too far from her happy place. So
In the penalty corner.
it's a good thing that we don't see them. But they would be in the frame for the big decisions inside the circle, around the goal mouth.
That gets a stick
That sort of
on that,
thing.
And then that's already a corner, I think, where the goalkeeper tries to get it. And then obviously she just puts it on the foot.
20. The ball is there.
Another corner for the Dutch.
Ali, okay, Ali, if you're telling me that it's a real thing, I believe you. You have an excellent Scots English dictionary. Okay.
And it comes, right corner.
The question is,
Janssen.
which way do you need the translation?
Lee Hong. Rear ward.
And Again, the first runner gets a touch on it. Again, the body, but she's there. She closes off that left corner completely. And Holland should probably think about a slip or to try and go around the first runner.
She's brave there because she's running at the left shoulder of Janssen rather than the right shoulder, completely blocking that channel. And Janssen slides it wide.
Okay, Celine just looking for a little bit of
On the far side, but that got in.
help.
Yeah, no.
You see Rhea Richardson there from Trinidad and Tobago.
Because she's
She's
trying
one
to
of the
go around
judges.
her, she goes
She's
too
obviously
wide
gone
and
over
goes actually
really early,
past the goal.
unless I've misidentified her.
Holland in full press now.
It's for your English guest and husband. Okay, so you,
You need to
Ali,
get the stick on the ball, move it quickly.
are the Scottish.
Know where
speaker
you
of the
want to
group.
put it
Good
as
to
you
know.
receive it.
8 days. Oh my goodness.
No, 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 no.
So if you missed the announcement last week and what I was talking about right at the beginning of this watch party, if you're a member of FHU 3T Yellow, I will be doing this. And this, what's happening in the voice channel, I will be doing this for very many games. Now, there are times where there's games going on simultaneously and I'm going to have to pick and
All the
choose.
time in the world.
But I would be watching the games anyway, so we might as well have a watch party for all of them. And I'll be sitting here typing to people. That'll be happening too. So it's a really good time to join Yellow. If you've been thinking about it, give it a try. If you are already in Yellow and you know somebody's thinking about it, try out the affiliate link and let me know. We are in beta for you Brits. We're in beta for the affiliate program. And that will give you full access. Women's World Cup, Commonwealth Games, lots of matches. And if you think I'm crazy, well, you're right. I am. But I've done it before. I did it for Tokyo and I did it for the Euros, so I know I'm physically capable of it. If you're not interested in necessarily everything with Yellow, or this is just, you know, you're not ready for a big commitment with me, that's okay. I understand our relationship is just blossoming here. But I will be offering tournament packages. For $37, you can join in for all the watch parties for both, for one tournament. Almost misspoke there. Okay, so obviously it's a better deal to join Yellow. But I understand. I'm not the boss of you. I'm simply providing options. Your choices are your choices.
Flat slap, which is not the most of techniques in this instance. But yeah, good save by the goalkeeper. It's actually really important for her to have a save in the books and build up a confidence again.
Well, opting to go back into that congestion.
I think, and I feel them. I think they can't see the players even if they're just a few steps away.
Okay, so
against the
we're being very, very proactive there, helping the player get the ball in the right position before the ball's gotten there.
And again,
It's a really small thing, and it's something that, you know, we kind of forget to do sometimes, and all of a sudden the ball's pinging from somewhere we didn't want, and everybody's mad, and we're like, oh my God, tweet, 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 no, want it over here, and you don't even remember where the ball was taken from. There's no moment to sleep. As soon as you've made a decision, as soon as if it's a sideline ball or it's a free hit that you've awarded, whatever the case might be, you are determining where do I want that ball to be taken from? Where's the margin for error? Like what kind of ball placement would you be happy with at what point? Because the faster it's taken, the more precise that you want to be with the ball placement, because that might be might be more likely to catch a player out.
I'm looking for danger in the deep, please.
And then where's the 5 meters from that point? And then where do you need to be? Reading what are the opportunities there. So you've got 4 things to think about as soon as you've made a decision. Right away.
Another angle. And she's lifting it just a little bit. But then that's, yeah,
Or move, as Mike is saying, move into an FHU 3T red officiating area and have a quiet word.
Thanks.
That is a really cheap way to get into this posse. You're absolutely right. That's one of those spell check
A little chilly in the
non-starters. Doesn't get caught by the spell check because it's...
shade. No Ava Dahoda in this
I
second
can't remember what
half.
the term is for that.
No, she
What kind
didn't
of word?
play
It's
it.
not a
I mean,
homonym.
if
It's
you come from nothing, one half is more than enough, and you don't want to overdo
something
it in
else.
one game. So
I'll
it was
figure it
good
out.
for her to get some experience, but we're also good to have some rest. And I'm sure they've got a few training games lined up next week for her day again.
Here is Matla. Another good save. She's tall, the keeper.
nice
Gets the left
save.
hand up.
I don't know. Thanks.
Okay, a
Yeah,
little
good
help
save
from
by the
Lorene
goalkeeper.
there
Actually, for once,
on
the
that.
first runner didn't get a touch on it. So the goalkeeper gave it, but it seemed quite a comfortable height for her.
Definitely not at full stretch in that top corner, is she? I mean, she is very tall.
She is. And but also it seemed quite central, but yeah.
It was a little active on that foot
saved
motion there.
comfortably with her glove, so didn't even have to dive.
Always a difficult one
Final 90 seconds.
in a game that is
Trying
out of
a-
question.
An improved quarter. They haven't conceded as of yet.
For me, you
As I
just don't
say
see it.
that,
You didn't see it
by Matla.
because you don't want to be in the position of seeing it and then making a decision that, oh, it didn't matter. Oh, it's just a friendly. Oh, it's just this. It's just that.
Fine. Clear.
In the game that I was coaching last night, the opposition got carded on the last play of the game when a penalty corner was called. An upgrade decision.
Very good.
Really well done by the umpire, by the way. Somebody who I've mentored. I was very impressed.
Yeah, great performance. And
And
again,
yeah, the penalty corner upgrade was given. Oh, I've lost my audio. There it is.
the Dutch are just too dominating at the moment.
And there we were, 60 minutes. And the umpire gave the yellow card. And I was really impressed.
She's had a good game, and she
It didn't have any impact on anything whatsoever, except that the message was sent to that player and to the teams that you're not going to get away with that mess with Brit. I was very impressed with her.
And that will be that.
Nope.
There's Ava Dahoda. Yeah.
Mr. Hoda coming back out.
Time in the second half. There is the final.
Well, well,
And
well.
There is no addition to the scoreline, but a hat trick from Frederick Matla puts her in
I wonder if I
outright.
do that. Oh, yeah,
top
that'll
scorer.
work. Okay. So, in summary, not a game that we really needed to see the full range of skills and techniques from Celine and Lorene. They worked very well together, which is something that you would absolutely expect. It was nice to be able to hear them talking to each other, offering support in decisions and things like that over the radios. And especially as the game went on, Celine really struggling with the light being, the sunlight being directly into her eyes. Very, very challenging situation. And I think it's a good exercise for us in watching this game and feeling that strain on focus. This is a full match. There's a reason why all my What Up Wednesdays are 90 minutes, because that's how long it takes to play a hockey match. And I didn't think of it this way for a very long time, but then I realized, no, I really feel like this is the range of focus that we all have, and it's a good way to practice and train this. It's now actually been more than that, just because of more stoppages in this game, because there were so many corners. But and the game started late as well. It didn't start right at 11 o'clock for me. So all those little things, all those little tips, all those little nuances, these are the things that we can develop as we talk through these watch parties. I hope it was a fun learning experience for you. It's probably something I'm not going to do very regular on YouTube because I don't think it's a fantastic watching experience. If my numbers are way down for this, I go into the analytics and the numbers are terrible, I'll know I'm not doing this again. But feel free to shoot me your feedback. pop into the Discord server as always. FHumpires.com/Discord. If you're not there, please get in there. If you did like it, please, pop that like button for me so that I get some of that feedback. And I hope to see you with us next week for the Women's World Cup. It kicks off on Friday, July 1st. I think Canada's playing in one of the first games against Spain. I think they might be on that Friday night game. So it'll be very exciting for everybody. Thanks for joining in What Up Wednesday. I'll be talking about what I'm doing in the server for the future What Up Wednesdays, but because we're going to be so active after next week, things might go crazy. I can't remember what I said I was going to do, but we'll find out. See you in the server. See you on the next What Up Wednesday. Thank you so much for joining in. Good to see you. Oh, Casper liked it. Thank you very much. And Amanda, it was great to have you. Oops. And there you go. And Gideon as well. Thanks very much. Enjoy your hockey. See you soon.